it's kind of nice following Eric because it tells me that my automation security guys apparently talk to the guys from DuPont and the rest of the company, so there's a lot of information I don't need to go over on mine. Briefly, what I'm going to try to go through a little bit, and I don't really like the first bullet item because I don't like either one of the first two topics. I don't like using them. But then we'll go through some of the technology and challenges that are going on, what the risks are, and then I want to kind of take a viewpoint from BASF of what we're trying to do to manage cybersecurity, at least within my organization from a corporate standpoint and from the company standpoint globally. One at a time, huh? I guess before I start, let me always do something that I like to try to do because there's no asterisk on my slides to let y'all know, but if in the event there may be some statements that are said that are not the representation of BASF Corporation, I'll let you know before I say it. That way you know it's my opinion and it's not necessarily the opinion of BASF as a company. Just got to do that. I promise our legal department I'd do that every time I present. So if we look at where we are with technology, and most everybody in here knows that, I was too young to know the age of pneumatics. That's not true. It's actually a picture of a panel board I'm familiar with. So we started in the age of pneumatics, and in the age of pneumatics, accuracy was low, of course, but we didn't really have a cybersecurity problem per se when we had pneumatics, not unless there was somebody out there trying to hack with some, bubble solution and a quarter-inch open-end wrench. So security wasn't an issue then. Then we went to the age of electronics, moved into increased access to data, moved into mostly proprietary systems. We started to increase our risk a little bit with our information that we had in our systems, but still not too bad. And then now we're getting into a technology explosion. I got more data within BASF than I know what to do with. I've got more different types of systems than I know what to do with. I got more people pushing for me to use the next mousetrap, next piece of technology that's used than I know what to do with. So there's a lot of complications that are starting to happen as technology advances, at least within BASF. With everything we review, with everything we do within technology right now, and my team looks at, one of the things we emphasize a lot is the fact that with each piece of technology that comes along, we get a little bit more and a little bit more risk associated with it. So that risk factor that we learned when we started doing safety systems within engineering has to apply in some way, shape, or fashion when we start to deal with technology. This is my lovely slide to talk about all the data that I have to deal with. If anybody wants data, I got some that I don't even know what it means, so I'll send it to you. Just send me your email. I'll send you some data. You can tell me what it is and send it back. But basically, within BASF right now, there's several items that we've been doing in technology, represented by these bubbles here, that come out to us and come out to my team on almost a daily basis now, a request from one of our sites across the North American region and actually globally to look into doing something in these realms. And my preaching to my team, a couple members sitting at a table right there all the time, is that what we need to do is take all these different forms of technology and we need to make it effective for our automation, for our manufacturing groups. But there's two key things that we always have to do, and the reason we're funneling it is because I need to make it secure and it's got to be reliable. It's two of the key things that are the principle of my group. And for me, I could have put safety up there where secure is, because for me right now, it's one and the same. I want to treat them one and the same. So this is kind of a model of what we want to do. As new technology comes out, as people start pressing us, we get a call from, John Doe over at one of our sites saying, hey, I just had somebody come to me and, sell me this wonderful device application that, I can turn on and off the lights at the plant from the house, and I can go ahead and control the VFDs on my pumps and speed things up and spin them down. I got to figure out what to do with it. I got to figure out how to make this reliable. First, I got to try to figure out how to make it valuable to my manufacturing, and then I got to make sure it's safe and secure. So I'm going to go through a couple of things of what technology at least has done to BASF. Of course, it's brought us remote access and remote control. That's something that's real now that we're capable and we're able to do with our current technologies in our facilities. But by the same token, it's opened some portals, and it's basically increased our accessibility to these same systems, which presents me with a problem. We have accessibility for collaborative approach. One of the big things I've always talked about in a lot of these presentations that I give is my dream for maintenance and reliability, which is this huge whiteboard that I can have my best technical rotating equipment guy in Ludwigshafen, Germany at our headquarters, and my best rotating equipment guy here in the United States sitting at a whiteboard looking at identical compressors and sister plants and being able to compare to the nth detail what's going on those two compressors to help each other out. That's my pie in the sky dream, and we're close to being there. Okay, the other problem is everyone has a key, accessibility. I'd be the first one to tell you, because we're such a big company and because we have so many sites scattered across North America, I have very limited control beyond the fact with my group, my corporate group, to be able to know exactly who has access to which systems in the company. We try to instill this on our offices of automation security at our sites, but it's not something that I would say I'm very proud of right now as far as our company as a whole. It's one of the things that we're struggling with to try to get a hold of. New ways to improve efficiencies. Yep, every piece of technology is, trying to come out there to show you a new mousetrap that'll actually help you either increase your productivity, reduce your raw materials usage, increase your operators' effectiveness. So, and then data availability floods, and like I said, you'll hear me say this time and time again, I got more data than I know what to do with right now in the company, and I got data going to the wrong people's hands who are making decisions on data that they should not be making. All these things are a challenge for us within BASF. And of course, no matter what we do, no matter how much, and Rob will always tell me this, is him and Glenn, my two automation security guys, nothing's ever 100% secure. So no matter what I do, no matter how many, we believe in defense in depth, we believe in a layered approach, but no matter how many layers I put, how much I do I'm always going to have some spot, some piece that's going to be vulnerable. This is a quick look of, our layout of the Purdue model. And I really just wanted to show this from an aspect of what I'm about to get into talking about, which is areas of responsibility. And what you have down on the bottom is the areas that we consider to be part of engineering. And just as someone said before, I don't really like using OT, but it is what it is. And then the top section, basically the enterprise level and down into our MES layer with IT, and there's a definite overlap. What this picture represents for BASF is the fact of how we would like our accountability structure to be. Now, as you would expect in a big company like BASF, there's a lot of friction that goes on up in this little gray area, trying to go down to here a little bit, and so there's a whole lot of wars that go on between the two. But I have to say, over the last, I'd say probably 3 years, things have gotten much better, and the understanding is starting to improve across the company, and especially in the group of guys that have been working what we call a GTOS, which is a combination of some of our IT people and our engineering personnel. So this is just kind of a model, like I said, of where we're trying to assume the accountability for what's going on within BASF. Now, what do? Well, this same group of guys I just told you about, a combination team of our IT department and our engineering department, came together and they developed a mandatory procedure, and off of that mandatory procedure they developed a roadmap. And in that roadmap there's a couple key areas that we're trying to focus on as a company to make sure that we're doing, dotting our I's and crossing our T's when it comes to cybersecurity. It's prevent, protect, detect, and respond. And we've used, just as Eric alluded to, we've been out there, we're trying to do basic risk assessments of all our systems and all our plants to make sure where we are. Do we have what we call our standard within BASF as the layered approach in place on these systems? And then we got other things that we want to do as we go further down the line. You'll see that you got the BSRA, which is our basic site risk assessment, is listed in both protect and detect. It's two different purposes for it. One's to optimize what we currently have existing in our plants. The other one is to come back and review it, and it's kind of like that plan, do, review cycle where you want to continuously look at this because it's continuously changing. And then more importantly than anything is the firm development of a response handling to be able to be ready when and if, and more than likely probably when, an incident does happen within BASF, and be able to know the chain of command between IT and engineering as to how do we handle these type of issues and what's the protocol. and these guys have done a very good job of putting this together. This is straight from ISA, and I don't have to review this again. Eric kind of alluded to this in his slides a little bit about some of the priorities or some of the priority differences between the industrial control system world and the IT world. And I kind of highlighted three that for me are important, and Eric alluded to the availability versus confidentiality, safety, instrumented systems, which is a big deal for engineering and is not even a thought for most of IT, and then security inconveniences. And we talked about that with patch management. So in summary, just a little bit of, and this is where I really want to spend a good bit of time, but this is what, within BASF, this is what we're trying to accomplish. This is where we're trying to go. And one of the things I want to say before I really get into the details of this is understand something from my point of view as the leader for the corporate group in North America. There's no doubt that the first item's got to happen, and we're well on the way of that. And the proof from me is I'm going to have conversations. You'll see some other bullet items on there that talk about the difference between IT and engineering. Part of my organization is made up of former IT personnel who are working in the automation security realm now. And so they have been involved. Now, did I handpick them from our IT group? Yes, I very much did. Because there's something that was said yesterday and actually just a little while ago that's very true about this. And people talk about the difference between IT and engineering or manufacturing, and they talk about, well, it's the way we handle the boxes that exist out there in the Windows world. That's what the big difference is. IT's got to develop more of an engineering outlook of how we handle those boxes. That's not it for me. It's never been it for me in the difference. It's never been my conversations with IT management within BASF. The big difference for me and why I hand-selected the guys I did from the IT department to come into my group is because they possessed one thing. They possess the ability to be able to understand that everything I fool with in the automation world is integrally attached to the chemical process. The HMI, what they call a PC, is just a PC. No, it's not. It is physically doing something with chemicals moving in a pipe for me at BASF. There's not a piece of automation equipment, no matter what you say it's, that's an IT environment type device. No, it's not. Matter of fact, I don't even like calling PCs for our workstations off of DCS systems that we have. I prefer to call them a workstation like we used to do a long time ago because it sets a difference from a PC. And that, to me, is the important piece for me. When I've looked at bringing on and working with gentlemen or ladies from the IT world, that's been the most important focal point for me. Can you get the fact that this is not a PC? Can you get the fact that this is actually doing something with chemicals in a pipe? Because if you can't, then you're not going to be able to help me in automation security. Kind of a harsh statement, but that's kind of the way I look at it. The second item about accept, and this is very true both ways. Okay, there's a lot of guys in my engineering department. I got one section of my group is called Basic Automation Technology. These guys have been programming DCSs for 20 plus years, PLCs. They know the gamut. They know how to get it. Some of these guys will never understand the Ethernet IP world. They just won't. They won't grasp it. And some of them don't want to after spending 20, 25 years doing what they're doing. Okay. By the same token, I have to have them at least have the base understanding. On the flip side, just what I said a little while ago, some of the IT resources that exist out there, some of them very much on this team that I've had my fights with in BASF, they don't possess the ability to understand that whole link to the process and the way we need to handle things and how we need to treat things to make security part of safety. So that's important for our group and my company as a whole to accept the fact that this is something that's going to exist and we have to be able to realize it in order to deal with it. Then we need to acknowledge, Eric, you kind of alluded to this, I think, a little bit in your presentation. The IT processes do not and will not work in the automation world. And that's the first thing I wanted to get clear when we sat down with the IT group within BASF is, guys, scrap it. We don't want to lose the lessons that you got with all the stuff, but you got to understand we need to kind of look at your stack of ways of handling things and engineering's ways of handling things, and then we need to start with a blank sheet of paper and start figuring out what works. We can't just say we can apply the IT approaches, and we've run into a lot of problems trying to do that. Next, we need to understand. We need to understand that with technology, you continue to increase your vulnerability. And the important part here, again, is in this bullet, I'm trying to preach the part of the fact that we all need to understand that security is a direct link to safety. At least for me, it is. Okay, so anything that happens secure-wise is potentially going to affect an operator that I worked several years with when I was in the field. So it's very important to me that we always link these two together. And then for me, what I've been trying to do lately, and this gets to the first bullet item that I tried not to use the acronym up till now, but IIoT and Industry 4.0, I need a mind shift change in BASF. Because where it exists today is I have people, and Rob, this is so funny because I'm not going to mention the name, but me and Rob Price, one of my automation security guys, we were dealing with a guy within our company who's in a role right now who, best I can describe, is what you don't know can hurt you. And that's what I'm dealing with this guy right now. And the fact of the matter is, he feels like he's in a race. He feels like within BASF he's in a race with Dow and DuPont and Bayer and Lyondell. We're in a race to use technology. We're not in a race to use technology. Never have I sat at the table with a group of guys from DuPont or Dow or Bayer and we said, "You doing that? Shit, I'm going to do something else. What piece of technology you had?" No, that never happens. We're basically talking about the same things we're showing on slides today. We're basically trying to figure out exactly how to master this. So it's not a race about that. So I need a mindset change in my company. First thing I want to do with any piece of technology that comes out is I want to be able to establish a use case. I want to find a use case. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to do anything called IIoT or Industry 4.0. I don't want to do a mobility application. I don't want to do upward integration unless I find a use case for it. I tell everybody that comes to me with a piece of technology from any of the plants, what are we trying to do with this? What problem are we trying to fix? What efficiencies are we trying to bring? How are we trying to increase safety? How are we trying to reduce environmental impact? Give me something I can hang my hat on that I can move forward with this piece of technology. Let me know what the application is. Don't come to me. I'm supposed to be the technology guy. I'm supposed to be the technical expert in the company. Don't come to me and say, "Hey, saw this nice mobile device. It's cool, man. It's a nice tablet. I can do all kinds of stuff with it." Don't come to me with that. Come to me with what a use case is. I know about the tablet. That's what my group does. That's what they do all the time. They look at technology. Come to me with that use case. Come to me with that application that you say, this is going to provide me X. And then I'll start moving on it. So that's one of the first things. Once they do that, then I can evaluate technology. I can even evaluate the technology that some sales guy came walk in the room and gave to him. I can analyze that. I can take a look at it. I can compare it to the other technologies that I have. And then I can come up with a potential solution for it. And then the third thing in the mindset change I want to have happen is, now that I have this, I got to do my risk comparison. I got to sit down at the table with my smartest guys, Rob. Yeah, he's my smartest guy. I got to sit at the table with him and I got to figure out, okay, I got this new technology. What holes is it putting in my system now for security? Where the holes are. Tell me, how do I patch that? How do I stop that? What's the best layers I can put on top of this? Tell me what I need to do to make this application work for this guy, to provide the value he wants, and still remain at least at the same level of security I'm at today, if not improve it. That's what BASF, from a BASF perspective within North America and globally, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to change a little bit of this. Technology's there, use it. Trying to get away from that a little bit, trying to actually look at where it's going to actually provide value. And with that, I hope I don't have any more slides since I just gave it today. Nope, that's it. Yep.